Yeah. Radiohead in rainbows. Again. Hey guys, what the fuck is up, you guys? My name is eManDan642, and welcome to another fantastic, amazing, superb album by Radiohead. This album is In Rainbows. This album I've come to really love over the past year a lot more than I did before. This album is an amazing journey from start to finish. In Rainbows came out in 2007, 10 years after their magnum opus. For a band to make this great of an album this far in their career is astonishing. It's not like, this band put out a new album, it was good. No, this album rivals their best albums. What I'm saying is, it is one of their best albums. What's even more astonishing is, after the Hail to the Thief tour, the band felt bored with making albums. I mean, the band have come so far in the span of their 10-year album run. They made two of the greatest albums of all time, and still have great albums that came out before and after those two. The band had been together for 18 years at that point, and the whole thing was getting old. But after some time of rest, they got back in the studio, and after a while, they released In Rainbows in 2007. Of course, it further expands their ever-developing sound. This album takes a lot of sounds and ideas from Hail to the Thief. Like that album, In Rainbows is a very groovy and energetic album, but unlike Hail to the Thief, In Rainbows is a lot shorter. It's only 10 tracks and 42 minutes. A lot shorter in comparison. This album takes you on a emotional roller coaster, even more so than OK Computer and Kid A, I'd say. This album is 13 years old, but it still sounds so new. It's an album that will never feel dated. This is one of the few Radiohead albums that feels inviting and comforting. It's a very warm album. That's not to say it doesn't have its sad moments, because of course this is a Radiohead album. Even in those sad and depressing moments, the album still feels comforting in that sadness, if you catch my drift. Hail to the Thief was a lot less focused on the electronic side that was abundant on Kid A and Amnesiac, and favored more traditional instruments. Aside from the opener 15th Step, the whole album is purely just a rock album. There are many styles of rock though, but it's a rock album. In Rainbows is a very mature album, a very understanding album. It has a lot of ideas and sounds borrowed from OK Computer and Kid A, but without the anxiety and fear from OK Computer and the barrenness and desolation from Kid A. I'd say this is Radiohead's most purely musical album. It's just music. It makes you feel good. Not necessarily happy all the time, but good. Music is a certain joy in your life, at least to me. I listen to sad and depressing music all the time, of course, but even those sad songs bring me some sort of joy. Joy in the pain, I guess you could say. That's something that I feel in this album. A lot of pain, but learning to appreciate life for what it is. It may not be good. A lot of life isn't good. Most of life isn't good. But this album understands that and embodies that. It's not necessarily a sad album, aside from a few songs, but it's an album that will make you cry. Jack-o'-lanterns. It's not Halloween anymore. You're getting banished. He's getting banished. Oh wait. Gotta set up my videotape. Let's check on him later.
down at the pearly gates. This will be on my videotape, my videotape.
Alright, let's see how we did. The opener 15 Steps starts with this sequenced drum intro that hints at the song being an electronic song, but it's quickly overshadowed with the real drums and other instruments. This song is in 5/4, which is not an insane time signature, but it feels so weird and unique. The tempo switches from 5/4 to 4/4. It's such a groovy, uplifting song. One of Radiohead's happiest songs by far, which is far, far different from where the album will end. This album is a journey from start to finish. It feels like a journey through life, the good parts and the really, really bad parts. Body Snatchers is a very raw sound. The opening bass is so crisp and dense. I love to see more of a focus on the bass. Colin's bass lines can be really good. Also, the drums on this album. They are the best they have ever sounded. The drums aren't the most prominent thing on this album, but they are way more prominent than on previous albums. Nude is a song that Radiohead has been sitting on for a while, but was never officially released until this album. This is an amazing, heart-wrenching track that is just so painful to listen to. The last line of the song builds up to this epic climax that doesn't overwhelm me with sound like other Radiohead tracks. The high point when Tom sings Thinking is such a great moment. All the music stops except for Tom's vocals, and then just picks right back up like nothing happened. It's a song that you just lay in bed and listen to, just laying there with earbuds in, staring at the ceiling. And once that moment hits near the end, it's enough to make you cry. It's so good. The next track, Weird Fishes, is a soothing, spacey song featuring those iconic drums. The song makes you feel like you are one with the world and the world is one with you. It's like you are floating along. The dark outro just comes over and rains on everything the song builds up to. Reckoner is another brutally painful song. The drums take over from the beginning. It feels like the sound is all around you, engulfing you in the weight of the drums. The stringy guitars and the piano just adds to the engulfing sound. After the dark and haunting Reckoner, we get another slower and calmer song with House of Cards. This song is another floaty song that you just vibe to. It's a calm before the storm because the next track, Jigsaw Falling Into Place, picks things back up, featuring another great drum beat from Phil. Tom's vocals are rather monotone until a little over halfway through. When he sings, the beat goes round and round. He picks things up, showing much more emotion in his voice. The album then comes to a screeching halt for the album closer, Videotape. This is a painfully dark song about death, more specifically, leaving a videotape with all the good as well as the bad parts of life in it. It's such a cathartic look at death, but a really effective one. The pianos are so haunting. Every time that low note is hit, it sends a chill down my spine. This album was one of the most human and raw albums I've ever heard, and Videotape really, really assures that. The opener 15 Step is one of the happiest and uplifting songs by Radiohead, and Videotape is one of the most darkest and saddest ever. Like I said, this album is a journey resembling life. The good parts and the bad parts, they're all there. With happier songs like 15 Step, Body Snatchers, and House of Cards, to the really, really dark songs like Nude, Reckoner, and Videotape. This album takes you on a emotional roller coaster, like I keep saying. I'm gonna give Radiohead's In Rainbows a 10 out of 10. In my opinion, another perfect album by Radiohead. This album furthers Radiohead's amazing streak of amazing albums. Their previous two albums had their fair share of problems, but this one really doesn't have all that many. I may not think this album is as good as OK Computer or Kid A, but it still extremely close to those standards. This has been Radiohead's In Rainbows. Fuck you.
Mephistopheles is just beneath and is reaching up to grab me. This is one